Welcome back here to Great Day at 9. If your house is going bump in the night, it's probably not ghosts getting ready for Halloween.
Yeah, but the prospect of making repairs can be scary. How do you know if you should call in an expert? We're going to be finding out.
Yeah, Mark Dawson, President and Chief Executive Officer of Authority Brands, Trade Brands, is joining us now. Hi, thank you so much for joining us here, Mark.
Good morning. It's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. My house, I hear noises coming out of my house constantly.
So do I. I have an old house.
And my house isn't even that old and there's noises coming out. How can one assess the origin behind creepy sounds and spooky smells coming from like malfunctioning appliances and things like that?
Yeah, you know, it's not hocus pocus and they're putting a spell on you or anything like that. So it's there's some things happening around this. So let's talk about the electrical part of the house. You know, flickering lights. Do you ever get flickering lights? So
yes.
Usually those things happen when a large appliance is turned on, and that's a natural problem. And don't worry about that. It's just a power surge happening. However, if you're getting a power surge and your lights are flickering and those things aren't in operation, well, you may have a bigger problem. And so you're going to check that out. It could be as simple as going over and just tightening up a light bulb. But it could be a bigger problem, and you want a professional to look at that. When you look at the plumbing side of the home, well, there's a lot of smells that come out of those vents sometimes and those drains. And so why does that happen? If you hear those gurgling sounds as the drain slowly drains down, well, your air vent that actually vents through the roof of the house may be clogged. You need to have that cleared by a professional. Don't get on the roof. That's dangerous. That's our job, right? And then if you ever sit there when you have your water running, you turn it off and you hear this hammer noise like somebody underneath the house just hammering on your pipes, well, that's a real thing. That's not a real person. It's too much pressure. So let's make sure we have a pressure regulator on the home so you can adjust that pressure and protect your pipes as well. And then last but not least, starting to get cold, getting ready to turn that furnace on, that boiler's on, and so we want to warm up a little bit. If you smell rotten eggs, it's not rotten eggs. It's probably natural gas. And so that is a big concern. You're going to turn off the furnace, open up the windows, call a professional, come have that checked out. Make sure you keep your family and friends safe during the holiday season.
I know a lot of people, especially here in our area, have already turned the heat on, so that's some good advice. But why is preventative maintenance so important to making sure that our home is up to date and looking its best?
So preventative maintenance, everything breaks at the wrong time, right? So if you're in the middle of Thanksgiving, right, you end up with a clogged sink at the wrong time. So when you're having Christmas parties or Halloween party, and the furnace doesn't work, it breaks at the wrong time. So you always want to make sure you do a little checklist before those things or those seasons come along. So right now we're starting to get really cold, right? You should have that furnace checked out. In the summertime, if you're using your HVAC side on the air conditioning, have that checked out. You always want to make sure the electrical's checked out just to make sure you're safe from fires. And then from a plumbing standpoint, those pipes burst at the wrong time. So let's have those checked out as well.
All right. Well, Mark, we can't thank you enough for your time. Amazing advice. We so appreciate you joining us on Great Day at 9A.
Thank you. Pleasure being here.
All right. I turned my heat on the other day and everything worked well.
Thank goodness.
Very happy.
I still have not done that yet.
All right. The Mark Twain House is running its famous ghost tours to get you in a Halloween mood.
But that's not the only way you can tour this historic home. Marcy Jones is there live to tell us more about it. Good morning, Marcy.
Good morning. That's absolutely correct. The ghost tours are so popular that they're almost sold out, but don't be disappointed. Of course, you can come take a tour any time of the year, but we are looking forward already to the very festive holiday season. Of course, we're talking about Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I'm here with my new friend Rebecca, who is going to kind of take us to the holiday spirit and tell us kind of, you know, what does this place look like when it's kind of all done up in the traditional Christmas garb?
Oh, it's so lovely. So about the middle of November, the house will get a makeover for Christmas. And we, all the decorations are all based in Mark Twain's family documents. We have receipts, we have letters, we have thank you notes that they exchanged with friends. So we know what kind of gifts they gave, we know what kind of decorations they bought. So we, and then
You've done your homework, so you know.
have. It took extensive research to do this. And so the house is completely, you know, first floor to third floor decorated for Christmas.
Love it.
Primarily on the first floor because that was sort of the most public part of the house.
Of course, but you mentioned the third floor, which we are on right now.
Right now, yep.
And Jeff is kind of peeking into this, I believe you said, guest room?
That's a guest room. And, well, Mark Twain's daughters used to think that the ghost of Mrs. Rochester from Jane Eyre lurked up there, which he just let them believe so that they would stay downstairs. Because this third floor, we're headed to the billiard room where he did his writing. And so he needed some quiet time.
So he needed, you know, a little help from the ghost to kind of keep the kids out of his hair while he did all of his amazing work.
Yeah.
And speaking of the billiards room, let's go in there.
Oh, sure,
'cause it's so gorgeous. I want to show everybody. And this is really where you said he did a lot of his work, right?
Right, yeah. So the billiard room kind of evolved into, it was started out a place to entertain his friends, but it evolves into a place where he did his writing.
Okay.
So, and did you get the ceiling?
I know, the ceiling is really my favorite part.
And you can just imagine the smell of the smoke, because he smoked a cigar or a pipe almost all the time.
Okay.
And when he wasn't writing, he would often be playing billiards or have friends here playing billiards. But he would write in the back corner there, facing the bookshelves.
Okay.
So stories that he worked on right here, the 17 years that he lived in Hartford, Connecticut, are his most productive years as a writer. So this is when he writes The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn,
Yes.
Life on the Mississippi, A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court, and The Prince and the Pauper. So all of the most famous works were created during this time period.
So really go Hartford, because I feel like that had something to do with
great works of American literature.
something in the water here, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. I feel like I would have had better grades had I been growing up in Hartford.
We celebrate this every day here on
Yes,
Tours.
I love that. And what are some of the, I'm sure that you get really interesting questions from folks that come in, take tours. I mean, what are some of the things that people come up with or that maybe had sparked you to kind of look into something? Or
Oh, people will ask anything from what kind of wood something is made out of to how did we know that what the carpets looked like?
Yeah.
To you know, what was Mark Twain like as a person? What was his, that people are really interested in learning that he had a wife and a family and was really absorbed in his family, and that's part of why they wanted to make Christmas. He had 3 little girls, Susie, Clara, and Jean. They're, you know, a lot of what we share at holiday time is all based on a letter that Susie Clemens, his oldest daughter, got from Santa Claus.
Love it.
And where with all these detailed instructions from Santa to the butler and to the girls on how they're going to find things on Christmas morning. It's
Wow.
absolutely fascinating.
that is fascinating, and I love how kind of the vision that comes each year here that you put out really comes from them, and then it's just through writing, and the imagination really comes to life. That's incredible. This is so beautiful. So if people want to learn more or come on down, what's the best route for them to kind of get more information?
So you want to get tickets ahead of time, because oftentimes the tours, we only take 14 people at a time, so they fill up
Exclusive,
quickly.
folks. Gotta get
you
here
want to
early.
get on marktwainhouse.org and click on either events, because we have virtual events. We have one tonight featuring a Mark Twain scholar. We have Monsters and Death virtual programs pretty much all October. If you're interested in Connecticut cemetery history, we have a partnership with the Connecticut Funeral Directors and Monsters and classic horror all through the month of October, all virtual.
So fun.
But then on November 27th, we're going to do a staged reading of a lot of these documents that tell us about how the Clemens family celebrated Christmas, and we'll have that's also Museum Store Sunday. It's the Sunday after Thanksgiving. So you can come and go on a holiday tour of the Mark Twain House. Come here. We're going to feature our living history actors. We have people who portray Mark Twain's wife.
So it comes to life?
Yeah. His daughter, Susie, some of the servants who worked for Mark Twain. You get to meet them and hear the reading. We'll have crafts. We're going to repeat that on December 11th. And then throughout the month of December, every tour of the Mark Twain House will really highlight how the Clemens family celebrated Christmas.
Gosh. Well, nobody better to highlight it than you. I've learned so much already this morning, Rebecca. Thank you so much for having us. It's absolutely stunning. For anybody who hasn't visited already, now is the time, and it's about to get even more festive. So come on down and make sure you get the tickets early.
Thanks, Marcy. We appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
All right, the Mark Twain House is amazing.
It is,
You know,
yes.
it's all